we are Tuesday night. We got Dave, just Dave below me, Jake Malik, Sean Shear, myself, JB Ellis. You're watching Sideline Sports. We got a lot to talk about. We got MLB trade rumor, trade deadline.
Trade deadline.
With a bunch of trades. Nothing really too much that I thought it was kind of a dead day, in my opinion. But we'll get to that in a second. We're going to talk about Jonathan Taylor and his request for a trade. We got some predictions for division winners for the NFL
as promised
season. So we got a lot to.
I was going to say the big news today really is, Dave, the return of tacos. It seems to be happening.
I'll tell you, man. I almost started shaking last week when I didn't have them. We got to bring it up, and then Anne Marie, she watches, and she goes, honey, I'll make you tacos.
Nice.
When you have a Latina like making you tacos, bro. Oh man, it's been smelling good for a minute. They've been sitting on this plate. I've been waiting to dive into them. You guys, when you meet a gal and then she, the topic of cooking comes up, and when I don't know if you've experienced this, but when she said she's not a very good cook, I'm thinking, all right, you're either setting a low bar,
right,
or you're just not a good cook, and I'm just hoping it was the latter. I'm hoping, man. I hope she's just like setting the expectations low. I will tell you, in 2.5 years, she has not made me a bad thing, and she slayed it with these tacos. So she went kind of. I have 2 sets of tacos, and they're all browned tortillas. This one's hamburger and potato for Grandma's recipe. I'm telling you, she said, David, you are not going to be on that show without a taco ever again. And then this one,
nice.
And these are pork tacos. She went. I'm out. So you guys are talking. I'm eating tacos.
Dave,
so
Dave, I was gonna say, if she didn't already have a ring on her finger, then you need to put a ring on that finger ASAP, because
Done.
that comment of "you will never go another show without a taco." I mean, that's so emblematic of somebody who just. It's everything you could need, right? She cares about you. She wants to cook you food. What more could you ask for? She's thinking, you need tacos, and I'm going to take care of that.
That's it.
I mean, sign me up.
She is the opposite of Jim Irsay. Instead of splitting people apart, she is bringing them together. She loves marriage instead of divorce, because Jim Irsay seems to love divorce, loves divorcing Jonathan Taylor. So I'm just saying she's the opposite.
We'll talk about that soon.
Go ahead, John.
No, we're gonna tease it because we got to talk about the MLB first.
I was just saying.
No, John, I appreciate the tease. You know that. I like that.
It's a little bit of foreshadowing.
Absolutely. But no, I mean, and the reason I said, Dave, it's exciting that you have tacos is because that was about the most exciting thing that happened today in sports, I think, because, the MLB trade deadline came and went, and I got to be honest,
it was a dud.
I'm really underwhelmed. I didn't think it was going to be like a blockbuster, but I thought there was going to be something. I mean, it was like baloney little trades here and there. It meant nothing, basically.
Well, I'll tell you something that was kind of a neat topic. I mean, these here in Southern California is reading, how Otani goes, man, I don't have no interest in going anywhere else, and let's make a run at this. I mean, that's, he could have gotten some money. You know that, and him saying, man, no, I'm here to see what we can do here. And that was kind of cool.
Jake, how is it a dud if Justin Verlander got dealt back to the Astros? How's it a dud?
That was the only move, John. That was the only move that was of any interest.
That was 2 of their best prospects for a 39-year-old pitcher. That's a bold move by the Astros.
That's a great move by the Mets. The Mets were the only winners of the trade deadline, in my opinion.
But my point is, John, and not to diminish that by any means, but I feel like every trade deadline, and not just in baseball, in all sports, it's like, there's a big trade here in the morning, then there's another one in the afternoon, and then like right before the deadline hits, there's some, 1 or 2 more that are like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Today was like, Verlander might go back to the Astros. Oh, it's happening. Oh, the return is good. Okay. And then that was it. There was nothing else. It was,
Dylan
radio
Cease,
silence.
Dylan Cease almost got dealt to teams like the Orioles.
Yeah,
but
almost.
That the White Sox wanted too much, and We've seen this in the past couple of years with the MLB trade deadline, even the NFL trade deadline, NBA, like those trade deadlines. The way this works is I think teams got the analytics and they're like, you know what? Like it's not worth getting a guy for 2 months and trading away our future for a 2-month rental. It's just not worth it. And I think teams no, you've seen that more and more in sports, JB. At trade deadlines, teams just are not willing to mortgage their future for a rental of a player when typically the contracts are expiring in 2 to 3 months, whatever sport it is. And then you get them for that, and then you have no guarantee if you're going to get them back. And unless you win the World Series or Super Bowl or whatever it is, it's an absolute waste. Unless you keep them or win your championship, it's an absolute waste.
It used to be too. Those trade lines, those big trades were typically bullpen things. You know, Cats heading into the playoffs that need that one more closer, that middleman, something that they
maybe they need an extra rotational.
And they'll throw some stuff at it because they really think they've got a chance to make a serious run. I think those are typically what we used to see, and that was where the big money was.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, shocked that the Mets basically gave away Scherzer and Verlander and got great returns on them, and then traded Pham, that they just gave up on their season. I mean, I don't think they were catching Atlanta, obviously.
No.
But,
the Mets' big issue is they didn't just trade them away. They're paying a boatload of money for both of them still, though.
The money doesn't matter. It's Steve.
No,
he's
for Steve Cohen, it means nothing. Yeah. That's like JB, me, you, John, Dave going, let's go get a $10 sandwich. I mean, it means literally nothing. It's a drop in the bucket for him. But I guess the optics of it for me, it's like, okay, we're getting rid of these guys and we're going to keep paying them a good amount. We didn't even get these teams to take some of the salary for them. It was mostly we're ending up paying them.
But that's how you get those prospects.
But I guess that's what sticks out to me is not only did the Mets just quit on the season, they're like, we're going to pay for them to play for you too. So now let's say the Astros go back to back, right? Let's just say it happens. I think it's possible.
Let's not go with that.
Now the Mets are paying for Justin Verlander to go with the team. And it's just, I like to use this term when it's only appropriate. It's a very Mets thing to do.
Yes.
And if you know the Mets, you know what I mean. And that's what it is. It's a very Mets thing to do at the end of the day. I'm not surprised they blew it up, though. I mean,
the thing is,
try and get younger, I guess.
But the thing is, I don't blame the Mets because you have teams like the Angels who think that they're better than they are, which they're not. Mm-hmm. You have teams like the Phillies that think they're better than they are. These teams that are buying at the deadline that should not be buying. The Yankees should not be buying at the deadline. I'm not saying they should be selling, but they shouldn't be buying. Like the Yankees, to me, this year are not in a position to where they don't look like a championship team that is a piece or two away. Like they do not look like that.
Well, we'll talk about them in a minute.
But I'm just saying, like these teams that are in that boat that are not 1 or 2 pieces away, they're fooling themselves by just saying, hey, let's go and be buyers at the deadline. Angels, you're not close. Phillies, you're not close. Like these teams aren't very good teams. Like, yes, you can make a hot run. I get it. Happens all the time in sports. But I just don't think those teams that we're buying are very good teams, and they shouldn't have been buying at the deadline. I think those teams
But do you know why, John? With the 3 wild cards, nobody's really out of it unless you're Kansas City or Oakland.
It's kind of like the NBA playoffs now with the play-in.
Yeah,
it's expanded, so everybody's got a shot.
But is it worth trading away your future to try and make a run at this thing when you're
depends on the market?
Yourself?
Well,
it depends.
So it's dictated by the market. You think like
So you mentioned the Angels and the Phillies. But you mentioned the Angels. Like for me, like speaking of like the market, right? For the Angels to go all in, it's worth every single chance that they can because the more that they go all in, the more that they're showing Shohei Ohtani that we are here for you and we want to win. And they've already kept 1 star by, as far as I'm concerned, a miracle that Mike Trout stayed around with this team. I still don't get that, right?
Yeah, I don't understand how he's not a Philadelphia Philly.
I don't know how he's not literally anywhere else. Right. But the point is that
it's kind of wild.
They got Mike Trout. They don't want to lose Shohei Ohtani, right? So they got to do whatever they can. The Phillies are a good example of a team that are like, why? What are you accomplishing? They're not losing a superstar in the offseason. So them, I would agree with. So I think to JB's point, kind of the market, it just depends on your situation and
Like
obviously the
Arizona.
market value of a guy like Shohei.
Or Arizona, they're a team, they're battling the NL West. There's really no interest if they're not in contention, and if they can make the playoffs, it's a huge thing for them. So they got to buy if they're close. Yeah. If you're the Mets, where you maybe, if you turn things around and go on an 8-game winning streak like the Cubs just did, maybe you have a shot at a wild card. But is that what the Mets are going for? No, that means nothing to them. That would be like the Yankees trying to get a wild card, and that be it.
Exactly.
It's nothing for that market, but a team like Arizona, just making it as a wild card, that's huge. So and that's why I mean it depends on the market.
But like the Orioles were smart, and they're not like, hey, we're pretty good this year, but if we don't win it, it's not going to be the end all be all because we got a really good future. So let's not mortgage it. Like let's stay the course. Mm-hmm. Let's not deviate. Let's just work with what got us here. And like
Dave is enjoying the hell out of those tacos. That's all I'm going to say.
He is so happy. I can see it.
I got two things for you. Delicious tacos, and you guys are talking about baseball, so I don't care about that. And these tacos are good, rubber, man. Perfect. I'd be in a dilemma if we were on the topic of football right now. So just keep
fair enough.
I got one more bite.
See, we think about these things. We got you.
You guys are givers. That's why we can do
always.
We love. That's what we do.
Absolutely. But you know what? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, JB.
No, is there anybody that didn't get traded that you're surprised?
Yeah, I think Dylan Cease, who is a Cy Young type of guy. He has all the talent in the world as a great starting pitcher. And the White Sox are absolute disaster, absolute dumpster fire. They had to trade him. And they asked way too much out of Dodgers, Orioles, teams like that. They just tried to get everything, kind of like the Blazers are with Dame Lillard. Like they're trying to get way too much. And I understand you want to get a lot, but you also have to be realistic because, that affects your reputation when you're not willing to work with teams and kind of teams are trying to negotiate. You know what I mean? And if you're trying to rip them off, it's like, okay, we know Dylan Cease is great. But at the same time, like, if you're not willing to meet us halfway, go ahead, stick with him. Your team is terrible as is. You can hold on to him until you go and lose him. You're not going anywhere with him. So the White Sox shot themselves in the foot. Having a great pitcher, they could have gotten a king's ransom. They asked way too much. And they're the losers
funny.
To me.
I have the same team, different player. Tim Anderson, same thing. He's got, I think, next year is a club option, and then he's an unrestricted free agent the year after. The time to sell on him probably was now because I think there's the enticing factor. Yeah. What's that?
Because they have the club option. That would be
exactly.
That's a great.
It's the enticing factor that if you want him back next year, you get to keep him. Like that is your decision to make, and you can keep him. And it's not this like few month rental for anybody. It's you can have him for a year plus where you can show him your city and show him your team and show him the clubhouse and make him want to stay. So when he is a free agent, he signs with you, or you sign an extension in the meantime and say, hey, Tim, stay here, man. We want you. That's also a bit of a surprise. But your logic, John, was spot on. I mean, they're a dumpster fire of a team. I'm not really sure what their plan was. I don't know what they're planning.
I'm going to throw out a shameless plug. Confidential Wednesday nights. What time, JB? 10 Eastern?
It is on at 10 Eastern, yes.
10 Eastern. All right. I wanted to ask you about the Cubs. Like, they're kind of in this weird spot as well where they're like what about the Cubs, JB? Like, were you surprised?
Obviously, they couldn't buy because, I don't think it's their year. They're very young. But the fact that they didn't trade Bellinger or Stroman, either one, because both of them, they're free agents at the end of the year. They're both key to the team. And right now, they haven't obviously negotiated any extension with either one. So, I mean, you could have got more prospects. Their farm system is really good, but you could never have too many prospects in baseball because not every prospect pans out. So, I would have gotten rid of both of them. But that 8-game winning streak hurt that because they went from being like 7 back or 8 back to like 4 back now. So that
how many times do we see that though?
That happened with the Phillies this year.
It's just it's a weird spot to be in. When we were at the Hall of Fame, I was talking with the CEO of the Cubs about Bellinger. How he was a key signing, and he was glad to have him helping with the younger guys on the team. And we were talking kind of how the 96 Yankees kind of built a core of young guys and brought in the right free agents. And I said it was kind of like that. He kind of agreed. So it was interesting to hear his thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because that kind of brings us to the last thing I had to talk about, unfortunately, is not that they should have bought, which is a discussion I will have after this, but if the Cubs decided to sell Bellinger, I'm telling you, I know a team that wanted him. They were very clearly interested in him, and especially because he can play the outfield and he's a left field, a lefty bat. That's double what they need. It's the New York Yankees who did
perfect fit. Well,
basically nothing. I mean, especially with that short porch. I mean, he'd kill it out there. I mean, he would be perfect fit in New York. It'd be great. Yankees would try and re-sign him. He'd probably get a good contract. All these wonderful things. And they
have
chose
that
not
nice
to sell.
Uppercut swing from the lefty box.
That was where he.
It's a younger version of Rizzo at this point, basically.
Yeah.
The idea of great power bat, can get on base. He's faster than Rizzo. Fits a position of need, and I mean,
minus the arrogance of Rizzo.
The arrogance of Rizzo.
Arrogant.
Yeah, he's just such an arrogant player. Thinks he's inside of the plate.
I don't think so.
So arrogant.
Anyway, we'll talk about that after. But the point is, I think he was a perfect fit in New York, and it would have given the Cubs something because, like JB said, he's a free agent, so you get something for him if you can. Why not? I mean, what's the worst that happens? He's a rental for New York. And
at the end of the year, he's a free agent. So
exactly, it's like when the Yankees traded away Aroldis Chapman, ended up getting a strong haul for him, and then they re-signed him. I mean,
who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year? Jonathan Taylor. He's on his contract year.
Hold on. Will you time out? I want to finish talking about the Yankees because the Yankees didn't do squat, and I'm really not.
Well, Dave hasn't said much in a while, so I figured we'd just wake him up and talk football. Now go and finish your Yankee talk.
No,
I'll take a nap.
You guys can chime in, but I'm not saying they had to buy, but they didn't do basically anything. They at the end of the day, they got like two random pitchers. One of them who has like a over 7 ERA for a cash consideration, and they got somebody else. I don't even remember who it was, and it just felt kind of like the Yankees went, "Well, we made these trades so we can turn around to the fans and go, well, we did something. We at least we put our name out there, guys. We did something today," and it kind of felt like, well, you didn't really accomplish anything. You just tried to.
You think that's what it was?
Tell the fans
like
I didn't
you had
do nothing.
A day off of work and you sat around eating chips all day, and your wife's like, "Did you do anything today?" And you get up and you get up and go to the bathroom, and you're like, "Well, I mean, I moved from the couch. I went to the bathroom and came back, so I didn't just sit all day on the couch."
Or you looked at your phone and looked at your email for like 30 seconds, like, well, I was
looking at job
today.
offers. I was looking at job offers.
Did you want, Jake? We're both the Yankee fans here. Real quick, did you want to be a buyer at the trade deadline? Because we're not going.
No, I don't think we should have been. Right. I think there were. I think there were opportunities to maybe sell some guys that are going to be free agents in the offseason, potentially. That kind of stuff. That was an opportunity, I think. Maybe go after some pitching, some guys that we can hold on to for another couple of years, if there were guys like that. I'm not expecting us to be like bigger buyers, but I was expecting the Yankees to just try and make moves that help them not just this year, but maybe like long-term, the next 2-3 years is kind of what I was hoping for.
And it just may not have materialized though. That may not.
And that's, but I think it's that, but it's also, I just guess there was no stories, no reporting like, oh, the Yankees are trying to do X, Y, Z. There was nothing. Right. So it just kind of feels like from what we hear and what was at least told to the rest of the media, right, was they didn't really do anything. And that's kind of the concern is I'm not expecting them to make this big trade to, go get like Christian Yelich or Mike Trout or, some like great outfielder. I'm not expecting that. I was expecting like at least an attempt to do anything. And it just kind of felt like they didn't do much.
So I got two things before we move on to Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
First of all, I don't know if the three of you are aware. I kind of know, but we are a top 100 show on Good Pods.
Yes,
so congratulations, everybody here. And that's in the sports section. We cracked the top 100, moving up as we speak. Thanks to our friends at Good Pods for sending us that email. So we have that. Great job, everybody. And thanks everyone for listening. Secondly, after our show, I hear there's going to be a great show about the Seattle Seahawks called Hawk Talk.
Hawk Talk.
You may want to
That's
tune
right.
into that. It's going to be another Sideline Sports production with NFL Alumni Media. And we got some great ex-Seahawks. Obviously, Just Dave's going to be there. One day we'll get his last name, but look out for that.
Maybe he'll say it on the show.
Maybe I'll get it right. I don't know.
Look out for that later on tonight, and following our shows weekly. But now let's get to Jonathan Taylor. Now that I got our shameless plugs in.
Shameless plug, yes.
All
John,
right, Jake,
I'll let you take this off. No, I'll let you. You're so eager to talk about this. I want to give you the spotlight.
Twice, John. Come on.
Well,
yeah,
look,
really.
I was trying to wake up
this was
Dave.
you.
You went from tacos to Jonathan Taylor. I want to hear it.
I mean, you are so excited to talk about it. I wanted to just give you a moment to take the spotlight and talk about it.
No, I think this is so crazy what Jim Irsay is doing. Not only is Jonathan Taylor your best offensive player, I was talking about this with somebody at work today. Not only is he a great running back, and I think there's two reasons you have to re-sign him and you have to make him happy. One is he's a great running back, despite the injuries last year. I still think he's a great running back in his contract year. Two, Anthony Richardson, he cannot survive and run this offense in his rookie year without Jonathan Taylor there. You do not want him running the offense of the Colts as a rookie when we all know that he is extremely raw. Again, I've said this before. I would wait till at least year 2, maybe year 3 before I'm starting this guy. But I understand if you do want to go with him, I get it. But you have to have Jonathan Taylor out there. You cannot, you can't give him nothing. Like the offensive line was banged up last year. Michael Pittman's really the only guy you have to throw to. If you take away Jonathan Taylor, I mean, you're killing Anthony Richardson before he ever gets an opportunity.
He is your offense at this point.
That was a number 4 overall pick in the draft. And what are you doing if you're Jim Irsay? Like, you're isolating arguably your best player, best offensive player, a guy that will take the pressure off of your rookie quarterback. Again, is very raw and has a lot to prove. He has a lot of tools, but he is also very inaccurate, very inconsistent. The mechanics aren't great, so he has a lot to work on. When the focus is on Taylor, Richardson doesn't have nearly as much on him, and he can kind of learn. But if he's the focal point of your offense, not only are you going to be a bad team, you're going to kill this kid's confidence. You're going to kill his ability to grow, in my opinion. So I think Jim Irsay is really doing Richardson and the whole team and the fan base a disservice by just making something out of nothing. And
did any of you see the quote from Jim Irsay this weekend, though? Because
I've seen so many.
He took a situation that was bad already and made it like 1,000 times worse. And I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to suit up for the Colts ever again. He may this season just so he doesn't sit out, but I do not see this happening. Okay. The quote was, "If I die tonight and Jonathan Taylor is out of the league, no one's going to miss us. The league goes on. It doesn't matter who comes and who goes." I don't use this phrase often. I reserve it for special occasions when people are this stupid. But to me, this screams tone deaf. I mean, it's one thing to belittle the running back position, which plenty of people have, and I've even admitted that I think, I've done it on the show. I think they're important, but I think they're a little, I think that running backs believe they're more valuable than they are to an extent. I don't believe I don't think they're, not valuable. I just think right now the state of the running back's a little bit of a mess, and that's part of the issue. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
But I understand and respect the running back, and especially as a Giants fan, I know how important Saquon Barkley is to my team. No question. But Jim Irsay really said the probably the worst thing he could say in the moment, which was, by the way, you're so useless and so invaluable to me, the league, everybody, that if you disappeared tomorrow, nobody would ever care, and it wouldn't be. That's basically what he said. And I don't care that he said if we both, if Jonathan Taylor and myself, I don't care that he put himself in there. It doesn't make it better.
Where did he finish the year in rushing last year?
Well, due to injuries,
not great.
I don't really
he was
recall.
extremely banged up.
He was a little bit lower.
Season.
Yeah.
And what did Jim Irsay say?
But the year prior, I think he
1,800
led
yards.
rushing the year before.
Like 1,800 the year
More
before.
importantly,
he
what did
was
Jim Irsay
fantastic.
What was Jim Irsay's stats last year? Exactly. Shut up,
like
Jim.
Quite a few
I
bad
don't know how many
comments.
bottles of tequila or.
Well, I just know that I know that he had a really big year up there with no talent. I mean, that I don't know, that team is just so not fun to watch.
That is so true.
And they
He's
bring
not
in this old dude that's been struggling for 5 seasons, and like that's going to revamp him. I don't even forget his name.
Oh, Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that guy. So at least Jonathan Taylor was out there, and it was just amazing that he was able to make the yards he made on a zero team. And and regardless, when guys start slinging poo like that, it just ruins the vibe for the whole team. Because the other players are going, that dude's a stud. What does he think about me? And that's just not going to bode well. I didn't have him. I didn't even have him on the radar for my list, but I don't think anybody else.
So you've been in a locker room. What does that do? Like you kind of touched on it right there, but what does that do in the locker room? And is that fixable? Like in that locker room, is the morale able to be brought back up? Because you've been in a locker room, so you kind of know.
I have, but hey, frankly, up in Seattle, the only one that really talked was Chuck Knox. And he didn't pull any punches either. And so when he pointed you out, everyone knew who he was talking about. He didn't say any names, but and everyone's like, man, I'm glad I ain't that dude. So it does. But that was a outward blast on a player that is a substantial player. He's a dude. I mean that.
Yeah,
I'd want him on my team.
I mean, just real quick, to give stats to kind of back up your point, how great he was. 2020, his first season, almost about 1,150 yards, a little bit more. Great in 15 games, and he only started 13 of them, so that's pretty good. Yeah. 21, 1,800 yards, as John said, fantastic in all 17 games. And last year, he played 11 games. He still had 861 yards. He was on a similar pace in terms of yards per game to his 2020 season, but he would have obviously done better because he would have played more games if he was healthy.
Also, his offensive line was extremely banged up last year.
But I just horrible. They're playing behind. They're playing behind all the time. You're playing behind all the time. Sorry, running back, you ain't get no stats, bro.
Not only that, but guess who? The owner of the franchise, yet again, Jim Irsay. Like the carousel of head coaches. You bring in your buddy Jeff Saturday to run the team. He's never had any coaching experience, and you're like, oh yeah, guess what? Let's just make Jeff Saturday.
Jeff, you were on my team once. Come on in.
Yeah, like nothing but dysfunction last year, and then like you. If you look at Jim Irsay's Twitter, man, he just doesn't shut up. He just keeps
who he is, John?
About stuff. It's like he's worse than Jerry Jones. If you're going to say Jerry Jones, he's worse.
Jerry Jones makes football moves and doesn't embarrass himself.
He's a great businessman, one of the best in the history of the game.
He may not be a great GM, but he doesn't embarrass himself by opening his mouth. When he says something, there's something behind it, and he actually has a thought process. Jim Irsay just talks because words come out of his mouth when he opens it, and it's like somebody sticks something in there and shut him up.
Hey, so you brought up Jones being a good businessman. Yeah, have I shared the story about when he was building that stadium?
No.
So he's building that stadium. His wife's doing all the interior decorating, right? They're doing the whatever super duper room, and she wanted this Italian marble for this huge. I mean, I don't know how many months.
God knows he can afford it though.
Just gorgeous stuff. Yeah. And the company said, and she goes, "We need it, whatever." In this time frame, the company said, "Nah, we can't do that. We can't get it done for you in that time." So Jerry buys the company.
That's a boss move.
That's power.
The countertops when she needed him, then sold the company for almost twice as much as he bought it for.
That's fantastic.
Jerry Jones, when you're listening, teach us how to do that.
And we know that you are.
Yes.
Yeah. But
we're in the top 100. He's got to be listening.
John, you kind of knew where I was going with that. I don't remember who I was talking about, and maybe JB or John, you'll remember, and because Dave, you weren't on the show at this point. This is probably a year ago, more maybe. I was talking about. I was talking about. Oh, I know. I was talking about Howie Roseman and Bill O'Brien, and I was saying that. I think the joke I made was that Bill O'Brien was Howie Roseman wearing a Scooby Doo kind of mask. You guys remember that? You remember that?
Yes, I remember.
So that's kind of how I feel with this situation. Jim Irsay, Jerry Jones. Jim Irsay, I believe, is probably Jerry Jones off whatever medication that man is on, because he must be on some at his age. He's off whatever medication, and this is what happens. This is an unmedicated or unmedicated and masked Jerry Jones. That's what we're looking at. He's saying all the things that Jerry probably wants to say, but Jerry has the wherewithal to not normally say, because he knows, that's pretty stupid. That's not going to bode very well. Jim Irsay just going, I'm going to say it anyway. And that's what I'm looking at. It just looks like to me somebody who doesn't have the filter and the wherewithal to go, I can think this, but I really shouldn't say this out loud. And doesn't do that. He just goes, I think this. All right, I'm going to tell everybody this so they all know what I feel. And it's not helping him. It's really hurting his team.
Do you think there's a thought process, or he just starts speaking? Because I'm thinking he just
starts. A billionaire and doesn't care.
Yeah,
John,
exactly.
JB, so let me paint a picture for you. This is the inside of his head. I'm going to put my mic down, but just this is what goes on the inside of his head, okay?
Oh, the Simpsons.
That's a cymbal monkey that claps in his head all day, and that's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. There's nothing up top. There's no brain on it. It's just a cymbal monkey that claps all day. That's what's happening.
He's a billionaire. He became a billionaire somehow.
That's fine. Look, at one point
he may not be a good sports owner, and we can't say the guy's a moron because he has more money than all of us times.
At one point, he may have been very smart, but right now, I don't know what's going on up there. But it doesn't seem like a whole lot.
But hey, guys, so getting back to the this kind of what owners do and how it affects the team. It did remind me of a story, because it does filter down. So when I was in Seattle, the Nordstroms had just sold the team, and every player loved the Nordstroms. They were a top-notch owner, family. They had the best of everything. Then this developer, Ken Behring, bought us. And I still remember it. We're sitting there at practice, and here comes this helicopter. And it's hovering over the field. And then it starts coming down, like descending onto the floor. We're in practice, and so we're all spread out, and Chuck Knox is standing there staring at this helicopter, so freaking pissed off. And then out comes the owner, Ken Behring, and then I will tell you that was a topic for Chuck for I don't know how long. And so when you're a player and you're looking at your leadership, so what he did with John, what he's doing. It's just getting the players not behind them. And you look at some of these players that go and they just hug the owner after retiring, and in that relationship.
Tom Brady, Robert Kraft.
And that relationship. And I'll tell you what, all these players are going, please trade me. This is embarrassing.
He's the same guy that drove out Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Same guy.
And he's going to do it again with another star.
Why do you think Peyton Manning didn't retire as a Colt? Because of that man. He retired. Why would you retire as a Bronco? There's only one reason.
John Elway and the Broncos embraced him
out of town, and that says something that you want to retire a Bronco as opposed to a Colt. The Colts are where you spent the majority of your career. That says everything that you need to know about.
Look at the Giants.
That's a snub right there. Yep.
The Giants are an easy team to use. It's a team I'm close to, obviously, but look at Eli Manning and the Mara family, right? Perfect, very recent example. Tom Brady and the Kraft family. It's the same thing. They treated them well. They took care of him. They made him feel important and loved and cared for. They wanted everything to do with them. These Colts players, like you guys said, want nothing to do with them. And I don't blame them, because if I don't have – it's one thing to have an owner that makes decisions I question. It's another thing to have an owner that makes questionable decisions, but more importantly – says things that make me feel like, well, he doesn't have my back, so why should I have his?
And I mean, it's kind of like the players that we talk about, like Henry Ruggs or Jordan Addison, that drive recklessly and then get themselves into trouble. and we say, well, you have all the tools in the world to have somebody drive you so this doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
Owners like Jim Irsay have all the people in the world right under them. That's why you have a GM to say the things that need to be said, so you don't have to say
in a way that they need to be said.
In a way that need to be said. Exactly, JP. I should never hear from the owner unless it's something like dire, unless it's like about a retirement or something serious happened, like, legally, like if you need to talk about, any of that crap. But like I should never hear an owner talk about Jonathan Taylor and drag Jonathan Taylor through the mud. That should never happen. Like you have GMs that can say the right politically correct things, like all that cookie cutter stuff. Like that's what you need to be doing, is going to the podium and just being like, we'll deal with this internally, blah, blah, blah. Anything like that, and leave it at that. You don't need to go on Twitter and say something stupid and cause a fight between you and the agent and Jonathan Taylor.
And your team.
No sense.
It's just it's just backwards. I don't know much about Jim Irsay personally. I can tell you this is not the first time he said something stupid. It won't be the last time.
Mm-hmm.
I just look forward to the next thing, and hopefully Jonathan Taylor gets the experience to get out of there as quickly as possible and go someplace that appreciates him, because he's a talented young running back.
If they go to trade him, what do they ask for him?
That's the problem. They ask for a lot, but if they want, I want a contract. Nope, you get nothing.
But we want multiple firsts, or we want a first and second, or something crazy like that. Just insane. As an example.
He'll walk away eventually. I don't know his contract situation.
Because the Colts are trying to say he has a back injury, they're going to basically negate his contract this year, and then the final year of his contract would be 2024, and then they could franchise tag him 2025, so he wouldn't be able to be a free agent until 2026.
Yeah,
hey, you know what though? Hey guys,
no, he's an hold on. He's an unrestricted free agent.
I was already talking, Jake. I was already talking.
Watch yourself.
This is a good year for him to take off, because the Colts are going to be like 4-13. So you know what? No. Thank you for my vacation year. Yeah. I don't want to get killed. Just let me rejuvenate.
4 may be a lot. 4 may be a lot. 4 may be a lot. 4 wins.
Oh yeah, they're going to be horrible.
But if he does that, which they're trying to say he has a back injury, this year doesn't count against his contract, which means he's not a free agent until the end of next season.
How can they do that? Because injuries.
Because technically, because what they just put him on is so they can get around it and say this year didn't count towards his contract.
That's horrible.
And this year's contract wouldn't count until the next year is over.
Dave, how does the NFL allow that to happen?
Then JB, after next year's over, they can tag him the following year. He won't be a free agent.
This whole thing's got so convoluted.
For 3-4 years.
Till 2026, he wouldn't be a free agent if they do this to him.
Yeah, you're the only one I know that's a member of this panel. That's why I ask you. That seems like a pretty horrible thing to have included.
Yeah, I'll tell you, these CBAs have gotten so diluted and convoluted. I have no idea even when they're done, and I get them and I read them. It's just the attorneys and the union, and trying to protect players, but then allowing owners, and then it's a mess. I mean, listen to what John just explained. Yep. Obviously he knows what he's talking about. I had no idea what he just said.
Yep.
So it used to be, hey, you sign up for the team, you play, you get cut, you go to another team, whatever.
Yeah,
there's so many lawyers and
all
agents
all
have
this franchise thing and the guaranteed contracts and ways against the cap,
to John's
and the
point,
cap and the schmap and the blap and
the blap is really good.
Hike the ball. Let me run the ball. Pay me.
To John's point, though, they would never do that. No team would be that stupid, because they'd be bleeding money at that point.
Huh? No. The Colts wouldn't have to pay him this year if they do that.
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they wouldn't they wouldn't extend the contract, sign it, because they eventually. He'd eventually have to play. Eventually, he would play. He's not going to sit out for 3 straight years. So they're going to be, wasting money on a guy that doesn't want to be there.
Fine him.
No,
I'm not saying he sits out. I'm not saying he sits out.
They don't have to pay him.
Yeah, this year.
What I'm saying is, let's say they negate this year. Then he doesn't want to play next year. So next year he goes, all right, I'll play, and he puts in a terrible effort on purpose.
Right.
The team, what are they going to do? They're going to keep paying him. They're going to screw themselves. No team would do this. We've seen this time and time again. He will either be, a free agent after the season because they'll let him go, or he's going to get traded because they know for a fact. No, because we've seen the situation happen. Like this, it's not a situation that's going to work out for them, and they know that.
The last word of this whole topic, though, it never works out for either party when all this becomes public. Anytime you have a dispute with your team or the team has a dispute with a guy, they want to get rid of him. Once they start talking about it publicly, you diminish the value of the player. So it's horrible on both ends.
It's like airing your dirty laundry on Facebook. When you have an issue with like your significant other or whatever, and you air it on Facebook, as soon as you put it out there, it's the dumbest thing you can do. Can't take it back. And then it's all out there for everybody to see, and it gets ugly.
You would be correct. So, all right. Now it is time. It is time for the big deal. I am sharing my screen for all to see. For those who I guess just can't remember divisions, I don't know. Some people can't remember. I don't know. Not saying you guys can. I know you guys can, but just some people in the world don't remember divisions and
who's keeping track.
Yeah, exactly. So, I could give me a second. I'll get a pen and paper. I'll keep track.
Wow, we're doing.
It's supposed to be Raphael's job, technically. Yeah, JB. I'm a little old school. All right.
Where is he?
Yeah,
he's somewhere.
Slacker. He's got a handicap. Hey, okay, so what's the bet?
I don't know. We'll come up with the bet after. How about we make some picks, boys?
All right.
I got the pen. I got the paper. I'm ready to go.
Where we start?
Let's start with you, JB. We'll go by division though. We'll go, AFC East, and we'll all make a pick for that.
All right.
Okay. So we're gonna go around, or we're gonna do all the picks.
Separately. No, we'll go by division. So like I'll go JB, you make the AFC East, I'll make the AFC East, John, Dave.
All right.
AFC East is obvious. It's the Bills. Why we start there, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, all right. Jake,
you're welcome to give a little reason if you'd like.
Well,
there's nobody else as good in the division. Nothing's changed there.
That's fine. Look, I'm going to say this. I am picking the Bills, but I would pick the Dolphins if I trusted that Tua wouldn't get hurt. Yeah. I think the Dolphins could win the division if Tua's healthy. I just don't think he'll be healthy all season. He'll inevitably get hurt.
Beat the Bills.
No, because Tua won't play. If Tua plays, if Tua plays 17 I genuinely games, think they could win.
If Tua plays 17 games, they're still not beating the Bills.
Oh, well, look, find out the season.
We're talking about who wins the division. So, all right.
Yes.
John, I know you're going to
pick. Clearly, the Dolphins are winning this division.
Clearly.
Oh, what a surprise! Clearly. Sorry, I had to get a different.
I mean you're gonna have the Patriots in last. The Jets will flop, which we're all looking forward to the Jets flopping. Like, right?
Yeah. So nobody asked about everybody else. Just pick your first team and walk away.
You asked. You said we can give a little detail. You said that yourself.
I said you give a reason why you're picking them for first.
I want the Jets to flop so bad. I'm looking forward to it. So Dolphins first.
All right, Dave.
I got the other. Yeah, I got the clear winner. It's going to be the Bills, but I do have Miami as a wild card. So,
thank you.
See,
all right,
not so bad. So, John, you're going to be wrong, and the rest of us will be right. That's fine. I just wanted to make the comment for me that I believe if Tua plays the full season, there's a chance they win the division. I'm not saying they do. I think there's a chance, but anyway. All right, AFC North. JB, start us off.
So I'm going to go with the Ravens based on the fact that Joe Burrow got a non-contact injury. Steelers aren't good enough to win. The Browns are the Browns, and the Bengals without Burrow are just second rate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look, I'm still picking the Bengals. They're the class of this division, and they are the second best team in the AFC as a whole. I understand Burrow's hurt. I'm not particularly worried though. He'll be back before the regular season starts. Burrow is going to tear up the league like he did last year, excuse me. And like I said, Bengals are if the Chiefs don't exist, Bengals are not only the class of the division, probably class of the league. John.
Guess the Eagles don't exist.
Nope.
Yeah, I got to go with.
You can't tell me that you think they're better.
The Eagles are better than the Bengals by far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they are.
You're
absolutely. You're making me agree with John. This is bad.
I don't know what
We'll talk about them when they come up.
I don't know what you're smoking in the armpit of the USA, but you might want to stop.
What do you got, John? Just give us a pick.
I'm going with the Ravens. I think Burrow's injury will really hamper the Bengals, and the Ravens gave the Bengals with Snoop Huntley in the playoffs, gave them all they could handle. Lamar will be healthy, and I think the Ravens take the division.
All right, just Dave.
Here's my sleeper. Here's one of my upsets because I got to differentiate. Because I go for the win. You guys are picking. I'm picking.
Don't
defense.
do it.
I'm picking defense and that kid coming through. Pickett having a good year, and the Steelers taking the division.
Oh boy,
Wow.
Alex, my friend, if you're listening to this, buddy, I know you are jumping for joy hearing this because you are one of my closest friends is a Steelers fan, and let me tell you,
hey, that defensive front, if they could get a little bit of support, I'm telling you what, man, that's a shutdown defense. And they just need a little bit of offense.
They did draft Joey Porter Jr.
I love that running back. Oh, I mean, if he could get a little bit of help, Pickett came on and did really well. And so I think
it's not a horrible choice. Not a horrible choice. I just don't see it.
Dave, we're going to stick with you for the AFC South. I want to switch up the order a little bit. Dave, this
one is so not even close. You have to take Jacksonville because everyone else has like a losing season.
Oh, I thought you were going for the win. What happened to that?
Well, I'm not stupid.
To be fair, Dave picked the Jags before anybody else did, so technically he's going for the win. Everybody's copying him.
Yeah, so Jacksonville.
All right. John, are you going to copy him? What's your pick?
I'm going to copy him. The Jags are going to run away with this division with 12 wins. It's not even going to be close.
All right, JB.
Listen, the Titans would be the only team that you could even consider, but they're not going to be as good as the Jaguars. Another year for Sunshine. He's only going to be better.
Well, this is the one division. No, the next division we'll probably all agree on too, but we'll see. This is definitely the one division I know we would all agree on. I like the Titans' offseason moves. The signing DeAndre Hopkins is nice, but they have about no chance. They'll come in a nice second place, and that'll be their consolation prize. I genuinely believe the Jags will end up being not just playoff seeding, but like record wise, a top 3 or 4 team in the AFC this year.
I think the Colts finished dead last in that division.
I think the Colts might finish dead last in the entire league. How about that?
Yes.
They're terrible. All right. Let's go. John, we're going to start with you this time. I'm just switching it up, having a little fun here.
Yeah,
AFC West. I don't think this is much of a discussion, but
I'm curious what the Chiefs are without Eric Bieniemy because that's a big loss. Nobody talks about, but by default, the Chargers will always Charger, and the Raiders are just the Raiders. And I think Russ is washed, so by default, it's the Chiefs.
Don't let Russ cook, is what I'm hearing, John. If Russ cooks, he's gonna ruin everything, huh? All right, JB, who you got?
Gotta beat Mahomes, and it ain't happening. So it's the Chiefs.
I don't know. I'll go next, and I don't think there's a discussion. Mahomes and the Chiefs are the best team in the league. Period. End of story. So, let alone winning the division, I don't think that's really a question. Dave,
well,
I feel like I know where you're going.
You're missing, I think, one of the bigger stories with the Chiefs, and that's coaching. When you combine the coaching with Mahomes, there's just so much chemistry there. Those coaches let them design plays, and it looks like they get a stick and just draw something in the ground, and they run out and run it and score a touchdown. They're having so much fun out there, and I think that that is what is missing. When you used to watch the 1970s Steelers, or some of these teams, and they're just hitting people on the mouth and they're having a good time. I think that's the part that's missing in this game. Because I'll tell you what, I think the Chargers might have more talent, but the coaching is subpar.
Nowhere is close.
So you're picking the Chiefs?
No, I'm going with it. Yeah, I'm going with it. I had the Chargers written down, and then I just started thinking, man, you know what? It's just there's just too much chemistry going on there. And I know you guys are watching that show Quarterback, and watching just all the fun that they're having on that field. And it's just that's hard to beat. It's hard to beat. So much
when you're winning.
I thought I had you pinned, Dave. I was so confident you were going to go with the Chargers in my head. That's right, because your reaction before when I was like, "Oh, we're all going to agree on this," and then you're going. I'm like, "Come on, he's going to say Chargers."
I have them both written down, and I'm going.
We got to hurry up. We got to hurry up. We got 6 minutes left.
All right, 6 minutes.
I was so confident.
We gotta go the Super Bowl teams. So okay, winners.
We gotta do that. All right,
we
NFC
could save this for
East.
next week. The second half for next week.
I'm not here.
Absolutely not.
Oh yeah, you're not.
All right, just real quick.
NFC East, Dave.
Eagles.
Oh, boo. But yeah,
John.
All right,
Eagles. This is not even close.
Eagles.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have to say the Eagles. I don't enjoy it, but I don't think there's really much of a discussion. They are solid. All right, NFC North. Let's throw John.
Yeah, I got to go with the Vikings. The Lions are much improved, but until you knock off Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, they just have so much firepower offensively. They'll lose one and done in the playoffs, just like they did to the Giants last year. But they're the kings of this division.
Kings of the North. JB, who are the Kings of the North this year?
I loved the Vikings last year to win the division. I said it was their year, but this year the Lions are coming. They've gotten better incrementally each year, and the Vikings are to regress. It's the Lions year this year.
The Lions no longer sleep tonight?
No longer.
Dave, what you got?
Well, I've met Kurt a number of times, and I love that cat, and I love him more even watching this quarterback show. But I have picked my sleeper to get to the Super Bowl the last 2 seasons have been the Lions. Just because there's just something about me. It's like you can only be so bad for so long, and they really
Dan Campbell looks like
moves.
you.
Dan
Campbell is going to
taking the division
kneecaps.
and actually making it to the Super Bowl this year.
Is that Dan Campbell is like your doppelganger?
Wow. So funny enough, John is the odd man out because I agree. Lions, Vikings were like I think they were like 10 or 11 wins in one-score games. They were some ridiculous number. They'll fall back down to earth. They won't win all these close games. They'll probably win 5 or 6 close games this year if it's that kind of record. The Lions have been much improved. So
toughest division coming up next.
This
is going to be the winner. This is the winner or loser.
It's funny because it sounds like a joke, but it really is the hardest division. So you know what, JB, I will let you start with this one.
I got to be honest. I like who the Falcons have as young guys. I think they're right there, and I think this year they're one game separating them from winning the division last year. Everybody's got a year under their belt. They got a nice young team. Nobody else there impresses me. I think we're gonna go Falcons.
All right, Dave.
Falcons.
Oh, you guys suck, John.
This is easy. It's the Saints. They have one of the best defenses in the game.
Yes.
The Bucs quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, Andy Dalton's going to start for the Panthers, and the Falcons have Desmond Ridder, who's trash, and Derek Carr's a solid quarterback. So, I mean, that automatically gives you a giant advantage. It's easily a Saints by at least 3 games, at least.
I was originally going Falcons, and I was between the Falcons and the Panthers. I'm going Panthers, boys, because that's great young quarterback talent. I think he is going to be really solid. They have a fantastic new set of receivers on this team. Miles Sanders at running back, J.C. Horn on the defense to anchor. I mean, I think people are sleeping on this team. This team was okay last year. Obviously, the quarterback situation was a mess. I think Bryce Young will stabilize that quarterback situation. This team, I don't think they're going to be great. I think 8 wins is probably appropriate realistically. They're just kind of at 500, but it's a terrible division. So, that's kind of division. That's what you need. All right, NFC West. Let's start with John.
The Niners, easily.
Yeah. Dave?
My next show is Hawk Talk. But I'm going with the Niners.
Oh,
hey, when it comes to my quarter, whatever we're betting, I don't care if a quarter dollar I want to win.
Hey, respect.
The Seahawks going a wild card, but
okay.
Yep.
JB.
I would love to pick the Seahawks. That we got Dave at Hawk Talk, but I got to go 49ers as well.
Come on. I mean, it's just
49ers all day. That's not a discussion. One of the best defenses in the whole league. Brock Purdy was awesome at quarterback. They have so many weapons.
We'll see if he bounces back. I
got to be honest. Any of us could play quarterback for that team, probably. Yeah. All right. Are we doing Super Bowl predictions now?
Just who makes it, right?
All right. Yeah, that's fine. Dave, you're going first.
Yep. I got Lions, Bills.
Whoa. Gross. All right.
I didn't say it's gonna be
Lions,
pretty.
Bills.
I didn't say it's gonna be pretty. It needs to happen.
All right, John.
It's kind of like
I got
this
you next on my list.
year's basketball championship. Yeah, it wasn't that pretty, but it had to happen.
Fair enough.
This
I got
one's
John
got to
next.
be Seahawks and Dolphins.
Oh,
Wow.
Super Bowl. Seahawks,
Wow.
Dolphins.
John already lost.
Little Hawk talk versus Blue Hawks 13. Hawks versus Hawks.
all right, JB.
I'm going to go Bills, Eagles.
That's more like
There's
it.
the
very
odds on,
chalky.
odds on.
It's
You're
very
not getting any
chalky.
money. There's no money on that bet. There's no money on
No,
that
but that's okay.
You
All right.
actually lose money on that bet.
You know what? When you lose money, sometimes it's okay. When you win in this, that's what matters. That's what really is important. All right, I'm taking rematch of a couple years ago. Niners, Chiefs. I know, not exciting, but hey, look,
Such a
the Eagles
boring
lost some,
pick.
some players and coaches. I'm worried about them. The Niners are
250.
just as good, and well, you can't beat Mahomes as far as I'm concerned.
That's pretty chalky.
Hey, look,
You're with
sometimes
me.
chalky gets in. That's okay.
I know.
All righty, gentlemen.
Chalk it up.
Absolutely. All right, let's go around the horn very quickly. Wrap things
Hold
up
on. What
here
are the
and-
rules to this? Like, how do
Yeah.
you win? Is it most
Super Bowl
divisions
trades.
or
Yeah,
is
it's
it like
most things correct. Like,
Points.
okay,
What about-
I vote.
what about Super Bowl?
we
Like,
do-
how much does that
Hold
count?
on. Can I talk? I'm gonna
Yeah,
talk.
sure.
1 point per division and 2 points for Super Bowl team.
Okay.
Thank you, JB. JB,
I
great
think
minds
5
think
points
alike.
for
It's
Super Bowl.
exactly what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
see.
Nah, it
Hey,
can't be
absolutely.
can't be that much because then it's worth too much.
Exactly.
all right. Yep.
All right, good. Seems to be all right. All right, JB, start us off. Go around the horn very quickly.
JB_ the program. Watch Hawk Talk coming up soon and Confidential tomorrow night.
Okay, Dave, just Dave.
Hey, just Dave. Yeah. We're launching Hawk Talk with my buddies Trey Madden, USC, and Orange County Cat, and Walter Thurman, Super Bowl champ, Legion of Boom. And we're gonna have a lot of fun. And just a quick recap: this last weekend, I got to hang out with Cheryl Miller, Hall of Fame, Andre Reed, Hall of Fame, and all of which are going to be at my tournament March 18th. First and Goal Project Celebrity and Veterans Golf Tournament at Coda de Casa in Orange County. And I'm just
Can't
Dave.
wait.
That's where we're going
Can't
to be.
wait.
John.
Blue Hawks 13 and NFL Alumni Media. Make sure you check us out on there. Everything Sideline Sports. And Good
All right,
Pods.
and I'm
Top 100.
Top 100.
that's right. I'm Jake_Malik. We are Sideline Sports, and we will see you guys next time.
Be good.